what that does. Now, yeah, I'm going to basically try and bash that weld out of that little hole, and then I'm going to drill that outside hole to the same diameter as the thick part of the axle, because the axle is going to now sit not on the smaller shaft but on the main shaft. So I'm going to do that using a drill such as the one I've got there. I forgot what they're called, and also a die grinder. So I'm going to put the camera down again and get busy with this job. Now, if you come at this from one side, you're going to create steps because it's 8mm thick, that chassis component. You need to do it from each side and progressively keep chesting the axle until it can just slip through. Yep, it's a step drill. Anyway, I've step drilled it and used the burr grinder over the work hardened welded area. Thank you very much for that, whoever else stuffed it up first. And I'm going to keep going until I've got it in. Now, that's it. Basically, there's not much slop. You want to get it to be as close as you can to tight. Now, you don't want it so tight that you can't feed it through easily. It needs to go in easily. I've probably got 1 millimetre of clearance on that axle, which is absolutely perfect. These are the new bushes that we've got in the kit. We're using a natural grease here. Try and stay away from the petroleum-based greases. That one works well. The Super Pro one's great too, but it's like $80 a tub, so we don't use that one. Push your new bushes in. I don't have to describe that the old ones are a bastard to get out, but you have to hammer them out with a rod. Once you've got them out, push the new ones in. Don't glue them in. We've made that mistake before. You'll see why in the next steps, because they need to be able to move around a little bit to get your axle in. You're going to get dirty here. If you prefer gloves, do it. Liberal slapping of grease on everything, basically on the axle shaft, on the bushes. This isn't your permanent grease, this is just to get the thing in, because the next step is the hardest. Get yourself in a comfortable position and lift your A-arm up. There's no axle in it at the moment. You just need to lift it up and put it into position where it would be resting. It is tight in there. You can't kind of get in there easily. It takes you a little bit of mucking around and a bit of leverage, but you can get it in there. You might need to hammer it in. You might need to use a jack. There's, again, a lot of cursing and swearing here and a hell of a lot of exercise. Once you do get it in position, through the ends of the axle holes, use a lever to line it up perfectly straight with that outside hole that you've now drilled. Once you've got the arm in place and your holes are lined up, insert the axle from the outside edge, and basically you can use that to align it a bit better if you like, and then you need to tap it or push it in. Now this one has a problem in that the angle does not at all line up to square, and also that's exasperated by a bolt rope track that's sitting on the bottom of the trailer. So I'm going to remove that and come back to you. Okay, bolt rope track removed. Push it out of the way. I'm just managed to tap the axle in now. You'll see it sliding in there. So I'm going to just sort of persist a little bit and get it to slide through the other end. I'll give you a look-see what's happening on the other side. I just use a little hammer and tapped it over gently. Make sure you don't bust the thread on the end. Put the nut on and tap on the nut. That's it right through. Thank God. Bit of a mission, but it's in. Now, your tapping and adjusting isn't over. I've got to get the keyway to fit in that other side now, but it is quite reasonably easy to do. Now, for now, I'm going to put the big washers on the outside on the left-hand side, all of them, the whole 4 that are in the pack, basically because I only want to put on the axle nut finger tight, and because it's a nylock, it's just going to spin. That's one of the big washers, so I'm putting all 4 on the end. Moving to the inside now, and I'm going to put the keyway in place. This fits so precisely that you'll usually use a mallet and a block to tap it in place. You do have to wiggle the A-arm around to get it to line up, as you'll see. Hard to film in here. There's no room for tools even. You've got about 1 inch to work in, and you've got this stupid water tank in the way. There's a covering washer here, which is also concentric and hub set. Okay, g'day, dirty, horrible job, and I've got one A-arm in. Now that A-arm is just sitting in there. I've got the washers that are included in the kit all piled on this outside edge at the moment because I want to just finger tighten those big nuts on. The reason they're only finger tight is because that keyway that sits on the inside is how I align the wheels. Now I've done a whole video on how to align one of these trailers, so I'm going to get you to refer to that rather than do it all over again. It's very difficult under there with just me, one hand and the tools. It's hard anyway, let alone one-handed. Now, once you've got it all in there finger tight, as I've just done in the video, move to the other side. Get the other side of the fingers tight stage. Now before we actually bolt them up and put the grease nipples on, you go to the video on how to align this thing. Now I'll go on and put this other side on, I won't video it. I'm sure you get the gist of that. It is a struggle to get in there. At the end of the day, I had a win. Sometimes the actual bracketry systems are lower and you can slide the axle straight in from the outside quite easily. Sometimes you've got to chop a tiny bit of the body off, which is a tiny little, well, like a 1mm tab of green painted steel by maybe a triangle about as big as a 10-cent piece, and you just nip the edge off and the axle slides straight in. Give it a touch of paint so it doesn't rust, and bang-o. This one was a bit of a bastard because the angle wasn't quite right. It was quite high up into the trailer, and that little skirt on the bottom, which is like a bolt rope track, was all it took. Once I took that off, I was able to get the angle correct to get the axle to slide in. Now I did have to sort of pop it in a little bit. I put the nut on the outside and I tap gently, just to get it to go through until it went into the right angle. Now once I've got the angle right, then I straightened up the arm and pushed it straight through both centers. Now you can't do it from the other inside because there's a water tank there. There is no room. There's not even enough room to do up the nut on the other side with tools easily. Now doing up the nuts is also a challenge, so we'll go to that and you'll see that in the alignment video as well, because you need everything sloppy at the moment. You just need to make sure that that axle doesn't slide right through. That's why I've put those 4 big washers on this outside plate, outside face, so that that axle can't slide through, even finger tight. I'll come back to you in this video as I've got the second axle in, and finish off. But up until now, that is the process for an A-arm axle replacement. Cheers. Yeah, g'day, I'm back under starting the second side, and I've come across some stuff that I thought I'd better show you because it's a good indicator of when you know these things are getting dangerous. Now I'm going to flick the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. I'm one-handed again. Hang on, how do I do that? Okay, stop. So I've got my trusty spanner here, my 30mm I think it is, my 30, and I'm on the outside nut of the A-arm. Now I'm trying to undo that nut, and just watch the top of the A-arm as I push some load on it. You ready? Can you see that moving? You can certainly hear it. That's how much play there is between the A-arm and the actual subframe. So that A-arm here has been doing its up and down movement here, and instead of twisting on its grease, it's basically turned its axle into a drill bit. And that drill bit has started to cut that hole bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I think someone's had to go at fixing this because there's weld marks all over it. And there was some evidence of grease inside. However, the grease has just greased. Basically, it's just a pin sticking through that steel now. There's actually, there's no poly bushes helping or anything else. So yeah, eventually that'll just wear the hole big enough that the whole thing falls off. Wouldn't be too good.